special oh, I have the wrong one, excuse me, of the Finance Committee meeting. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting an audio-video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I see no one in the audience recording. At this time, I ask that all electronic devices be placed into silent mode. We have a full committee tonight. Myself, Councilor Cruz, Councilor Walsh, Council President Zarella, Councilors Boschman, and Councilor Kuchar. There's no one in the audience here to speak except two members of the department heads. So we will get right to our agenda. That starts with 065-25, order. There be and hereby is appropriated the sum of $150,000 from reserve for other municipal purposes, capital expenses to school building maintenance, capital improvement. For that, we have Mr. Roach here with us.
Thank you so much for having me today. Appreciate it. Jeremy Roach, Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operations for Pittsburgh Public Schools. I can speak to the project a little bit. We have an ESSER 3 and IVAC, which is improving ventilation and air quality funded project at both South Street Early Learning Center and Memorial Middle School over the summer of 2025. The project at Memorial is to replace every unit ventilator, so it's essentially the air handling system for the classrooms and other areas throughout the building. It'd be they're original to the building. It's a 1967 building, I'm pretty sure. The building is really rich with asbestos-containing materials. So one of the subsequent projects that we would like to do with a portion of both Fitchburg School System general funds and then the appropriation request here is to abate a portion of what we can. The proposal that we have gotten for abatement is about $900,000, so we know we're not able to do all of that, but we would target areas that are common to especially access to our mechanical, electrical, or plumbing equipment. So it'd be long corridor runs and areas where we know we're constantly trying to address, but have to go through a pretty arduous process of, before we do anything to fix this electrical issue or this plumbing issue or mechanical issue, we have to get an asbestos consultant in. They have to then tell us what needs to be done. They put a scope together. We then have to get an asbestos remediation company in. So it can be sometimes 2 to 3 weeks before we're able to even do anything. Throughout the summer of 2025, the entire building will be closed. So it's the perfect opportunity to really address what for a long time has been, a challenge with that particular building. That's not the only one where we face this, but while the building's closed and having this massive HVAC project, which actually does include a significant portion of remediation of asbestos, especially around the unit ventilator areas and the piping themselves. So that's a general sort of high-level view of what the request is about. As a school system, we can only spend $150,000 of our general funds on any one capital project. That's a mass finance regulation. It's called extraordinary maintenance. If we go beyond that, we face penalties from the Department of Ed and Department of Revenue. So the remainder is really on the municipality, whether it's a town, city, or regional school district. So that's where we're making the request. So what we would propose is a $300,000 asbestos remediation project to run simultaneous with the big unit ventilator HVAC project that'll start. The last day of school is June 23rd. I mean, the project has started with preliminary work, but really it'll start in earnest on June 24th.
Thank you, Mr. Roach. Questions from committee members? I see Councilor Boschman.
Is this due to the fact that they took the $6.5 million away from us?
So this project is a $2.3 million project, and it is those funds. However, despite what the process was for communities like ourselves that were going out to bid on big HVAC projects, and struggled to find bidders. I think there were 31 other communities, if I'm not mistaken, in a kind of a similar situation when that federal notification came from the Secretary of Education, McMahon. This is part of that 6.5. However, the state reimburses the communities. So when we have a project like this that is technically federally funded through federal grants, like the ESSER 3, which was elementary and secondary school emergency relief. It was 3 phases, started during COVID, and then the IVAC grant that I mentioned. When we submit contractor invoices for payment, project management invoices, architect, abatement potentially, we submit it to a state portal. The state reimburses and pays those. Then they're reimbursed by the federal government. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts has made it clear to us as of last week, continue with your project. The state will reimburse you for your costs for your 2 HVAC projects. Now, are they going to be reimbursed by the federal government for ours and some of the other ones to the tune of $106 million? I have no idea. But they will for ours at least, and that's good news as far as Fitchburg is concerned.
So you're telling us that the state's going to give us back $150,000, us, not you guys?
They would not on the $150,000. They would on the 2 point whatever. It's 2.3 including contingency. So the project budget is about 2.2 million. That's the amount that they'll reimburse on. This additional $300,000 is for asbestos abatement in that building. That 150 would come from the Fitchburg Public Schools General Fund for capital maintenance, and then the request is an additional 150 from the city because we just simply are we're not allowed to spend $1 more than $150,000 on any one capital project.
All right.
Appreciate the question because obviously it's been a topic of many discussions with respect to the 2 federal grants I brought up.
Are you all set, Councilor?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Sorry. Yeah, I yield the floor.
Anyone else? I do have a quick. Councilor Boschman kind of asked it already, and help me out with how the reimbursement works now from the state. Does the $150,000 that we put in come back to the general fund of the city?
This project is a city project. So this is in addition to. So as we've worked through this particular project at Memorial, the challenge of the asbestos-containing materials, which are stem to stern in that building, has been a topic with the contractor since day one of them coming on board, which is about a year ago. It's a very, very challenging building to conduct the type of any kind of work, really. So throughout the past, I would say 6 to 8 months, when we meet just about every other week, if not every week, with the contractor project management team and designer, they own, in that $2.2 to $3 million project that's federally funded, they own a certain amount of abatement. They own abatement of return and piping, insulation. They own a certain amount on the flooring materials that would be underneath the unit ventilator. The unit ventilators typically are on the floor. Some are up above, but most are on the floor. And as they remove that, they definitely own a certain portion of abatement as part of that. What they don't own is, I would say, 90% of the ceiling tiles in that building are asbestos containing. Most of the mastic, the glue that holds down flooring tiles, cove base, the perimeter on a wall material, other materials even in wall, plasterboard, etc. They own some of that, but not the majority. So what will happen, I'm anticipating, is, like many capital project, is they're going to get into their job, and they're doing a renovation on a 1967 building. And they're going to identify another problem as they pull out a unit ventilator. Then they're going to say, well, we need to get into these ceiling tiles and remove these, and what we'll receive is, and we'll have no option around some of this, is change orders. This is additional work. It was not in our contract scope. We need to do abatement additional to, and we're looking at about 35, I think it's 36 unit ventilators in total. The discussions with the project manager, who really oversees and supports the city and us, is if you can get an abatement project done simultaneously, that would really help overall with any future work as well. I mean, it's just going to really put that building in a position where it hasn't been done. You know, it's how old? 50 some odd years now, 58. Not much has been done in that type of work because it's super costly. I mean, it was $900,000 to quote to really do a lion's share portion of the building, and we knew, you know, that's way beyond what we can do and way beyond what we could ask of the city. $300,000 though would enable this project, I think, to go smoother. I'm not saying there wouldn't be potentially change orders here and there. But it would also put Memorial in a really good position for future projects, you know, that we might need to do with respect to, you know, whatever it might be. We just had a big security system overhaul of all our buildings. At Memorial, they had to drop everything below the ceiling tiles. All the cabling, all the wiring, all the different things like that, that resulted in a pretty significant change order of adding wire mold. If the ceiling tiles hadn't been asbestos, they could have just popped them back, put them up, and then popped the ceiling tiles back. You don't see them, they're not there. But that's the nature of some of our buildings. Again, I think this would address the investment ultimately would help for the next 20 to 30 years with other things that are, you know, likely to happen with any building. You encounter maintenance issues.
Councilor Boschman.
A question for Jackie. If they go over budget, can we afford it? If they go over budget, say if they go over budget 20, 25, 30% or better, can we afford it?
Well, over budget on what project?
On the project he's talking about, with our 150,000 plus yours, there's 300,000.
I think they're going to intentionally limit the scope of the project to just
It would be a not to exceed.
300,000.
Yeah. This would be, they've given us a scope, room by room, hall by hall, every area, rugs, you know, all different aspects of the building. We're focusing on ceiling tiles mainly. We just can't afford the massive task of coming in, removing the rugs, and removing all the glue. Those are even more costly. This is dealing with a lot of ceiling tile access through long runs of corridors where we know we have a lot of, you know, cabling, wiring, plumbing materials, that type of thing. If this is approved, the work with the contractor and the project manager would be not to exceed $300,000. They have the scope laid out. They have their cost. They would have to live within that.
Okay. One final thing, I just want to correct you on something. I believe the school's 1960.
It might.
That shows my age.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilor Boschman. Let the record show.
Thank you.
Well, we definitely appreciate you expediting this work, and we can't have asbestos in our schools. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Seeing no objections, it is approved.
Take it easy on the
Assistant
city.
Superintendent
yeah?
Roach.
Thank you. I'm trying. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the support.
Thank you.
You guys have a good night.
You too. And we appreciate our state delegation and our state administration stepping up to keep their promise and reimburse these funds.
Agreed. Yeah. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Right.
Have a nice Easter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to our final item for this committee meeting, 068-25, petition that the city of Fitchburg increase the annual license fee for fire alarm system monitoring from the current $200 to $300. This increase will take effect January 1st, 2026. We request these funds be deposited into an enterprise fund for equipment maintenance and future upgrades. This fee is charged annually through the city clerk's office for all fire alarm systems. The system is maintained and monitored by the Fitchburg Fire Department Dispatch Center 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. To discuss this, we have Chief Suarez. And Chief, I believe we have a little bit of homework to do on the petition itself, correct?
That's correct, yeah. On the petition itself, on the third line where it says enterprise fund, that should say revolving account.
Revolving account. Do I have a
Yeah.
motion to amend?
And
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Seeing no objections, it is amended as such. Chief Suarez.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee members. So what I want to talk today about is our AES system, and this is actually in three parts. The first will be the AES system itself, what it is, what it does. Secondly will be the communication towers system that we have, what that does, who uses it. And thirdly would be the timeline. We had some issues last week, and the problems that arose last week, and how we can hopefully keep these issues from coming up in the future. And I have a plan that I hope would work, and keep the system, which is very critical for public safety, up and running. So the AES system, what that is a fire monitoring system. It's very similar to, say, an ADT. So it actually just monitors businesses across the city. We have about 300 customers. This system, when there's a fire alarm, goes right into our dispatch center. So we get the alarm very quickly. We dispatch the units appropriately. So this cuts down on response times. So it's a much quicker system. Also, it doesn't use phone lines. It's all based on radio. So it's much more dependable until last week. And it's also cheaper. Currently, we are charging $200 yearly. I want to raise that up to $300 in January of 2026. Most fire monitoring systems charge between $400 and $600 yearly. So even if we do go up to $300, it'll still be cheaper than a lot of the commercial businesses that are out there. I also want to note that this will be in January of 2026, so the customers will have 7 months advance knowing that these prices are going to increase. So the revenue that's created by this, it's roughly about $60,000 a year. Obviously, if we increase it by 50%, it's going to go up to about $90,000 if we retain all the customers, which I'm sure that we will. And this system, that revenue, I'd like to use for our safety communication system. And what that is we have 7 radio towers around the city that we use so we can communicate during emergencies. And that's not just used by Fitchburg Fire, but those same 7 towers are used by Fitchburg Police. They'll be used by DPW, Mass State Police, the FBI, and even the DEA. So it's a very critical, very important system. This system, like I said, has 7 radio towers. There's 3 dispatch centers that are connected to it. And everything that's connected to this is mandated by the FCC, FEMA, Homeland Security, and the state of Massachusetts. The timeline that occurred last week, the issues that occurred last week was on Thursday, part of the communication tower failed, and we didn't have communications for almost 2 hours. PD had an issue. They were able to pick up their redundant system, which worked for them. They didn't have the best coverage, but still at least they had something. On our end, both our primary system and our redundant system went down, so that caused some serious issues for us. In the meantime, trying to get that up and running, we had to change components from some of the equipment that we had at our central fire station, some of our outlaying towers that we don't rely on as much as the ones that are closer to the downtown area. We had to add those components. Unfortunately, when we try to get the pieces for these things, they're so antiquated that either they don't fit, or if the components that we're trying to get are just not compatible with the ones that we have, because the newer ones that we're buying is new software, new hardware, and it's just not compatible with the stuff that we have. So with this, by increasing the revenue for the AES system, I would like to have that go into the revolving account that which we already have, we already manage at the Fitchburg Fire Department, so there's no extra clerical fees or anything like that. And that those funds will be used to maintain this communication system. It was new about 15 years ago, and slowly it's just degraded, and now it's just antiquated. As I said, a lot of the components that we try to buy for it are just not compatible with the components that we have now. We can't find certain parts for it. So I've been quoted by Cybercom that to redo the whole system is going to be about $1 million, roughly. Now, we don't have to do that all at once. In order to fix the problem that we had last week, it's about $153,000. I do have some reserves in the communication account, the revolving account that I spoke about earlier. But unfortunately, that's going to bring it down quite a bit, almost to nothing. And that's very, very unsafe, in my opinion. The system should really have been taken care of from day one. We should have had a plan to upgrade or at least change the components as it became necessary. So with these extra added funds, what I'd like to do is have an 8-year plan where we go through the whole system, we prioritize what needs to be changed, what needs to be upgraded, what needs to be repaired, and we slowly do that. And at the end of the 8-10 years, sorry to say that it's probably like when they paint the Golden Gate Bridge. As soon as you're done, you're going to have to start right back from the beginning and keep going. But it's just too important. Like I said, it's not just a Fitchburg Fire thing. It's Fitchburg PD, DPW, Mass State Police, FBI, and the DEA all use this. So when it goes down, none of those agencies will be able to communicate in our city. I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
I have one quick question before I turn it over to committee members, then I'll have some more after that. This fee, it's in the language, this fee is charged annually through the city clerk's office for all fire systems. Is that a new way of doing it? Because to my knowledge, the clerk does not do the administrative work for these sort of funds.
I think she may process the payments for it, but we do all the monitoring.
Correct.
For it. Yeah.
But is this, President Zarella, you may know, is
We would do all of the 3 clerks that I have, the 3 part-time clerks, would take over the billing for that.
okay? So
Yeah.
that was
I
my
already talked to
concern.
my administrator, yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate to have one department have the administrative work done by the clerk. Our clerks are incredibly busy, they do a great job, but I wouldn't want to burden them with additional things.
Yeah, no, the chief's administrator, I already spoke to her, and she actually thinks it would be easier if she did it herself as opposed to just as you said, that 2 different departments would have it.
Okay. In that case, let's amend this again. We would need, this fee is charged annually through the fire department for all fire systems.
So I think, Mr. Chair, that that's an explanatory note rather than a part of the petition, but I could be wrong about that.
But it sounds like the fire department would like to do the administrative work for this, correct?
Correct.
Right, so, well, all right, I'll make a motion that we
Actually,
amend.
one second, Mr. President.
Okay.
Let's hold that for now, and let's other committee members. Do you have any questions for Chief Suarez? President Zarella.
So I've got a couple questions. One is just, when's the last time that this fee was updated?
It's been over 10 years, so I think it's closer to 12.
Okay, that makes sense. And have you had a chance to discuss with the mayor and the auditor where we would, sort of how we would pull this money from the general fund to put into the revolving account? I mean, obviously, we wouldn't be directly transferring, but you get what I'm saying. Right now, it's going into the general fund.
I do.
To go into a revolving account instead.
Right.
We would have to make some cuts somewhere else.
So I had a short meeting with the mayor this morning, and we discussed just that. And there's only 2 ways to do this. Is if we take this revenue, put into the revolving account, and we start to make these, start to fix these issues now, or let me back up a second. So when these The price increase will be in January of 2026, and then these funds will be transferred into the accounts in FY '27. So this is not going to affect this up-and-coming fiscal year at all. When that does happen, we'll be using those revenues to, as I said, repair and upgrade our communication system. If we don't do that, then I'm going to be coming before you once, twice a year, requesting $50,000, $100,000, $120,000 to fix the system. So one way or another, it's going to have to be paid for, whether it's through the general fund or through this revolving account. With the revolving account, I think it's going to be much easier. It's going to be much cleaner. It's going to be much easier to maintain this system because we know what we have coming in, and we can make the appropriate repairs, and the planning will be much easier as opposed to coming before you all once a year,
Right.
twice a year for the next 5, 7, 8 years.
So is this a thing that we can do at the moment, or is this something that needs further study on your end, basically, in order to...
Dr. Cronin, do you mind if I?
I mean,
I think-
a perfect example is this $153,000 that bill that we just got last week. Luckily we have this.
No, I
Luckily we have this
understand. I'm
revolving
just
account.
asking for the auditor's opinion.
Okay.
Ordinarily, revolving funds are part of the budget process where we vote, we put an order before you in June to vote on the slate of revolving funds. So this would be added to that slate.
Okay. Thank you, Auditor Cronin. President Zarella, are you all set?
Yes, I'm all set for the moment.
I think based on the timing, when we put the budget forward in June, that will be for fiscal '26 revolving funds. So
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Auditor?
the budget orders that are going to come before the council in June will be to set up the revolving funds for fiscal '26.
No. And then put the funds into the revolving account for fiscal year 2027.
Okay. So that would have to be outlined here. So for the fiscal '26 budget purposes, we would still be able to rely on these funds in the general fund?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So I think it would be a fiscal '27 revolving fund.
Okay. In that case, are you set, President Zarella?
I'm all set, thank you.
In that case, because, to be clear, the system that went down, it's fine. We anticipate no more shutdowns currently.
It's, right now, it just has a Band-Aid fix. They don't know how long it'll hold. They're still analyzing it. We had Cybercom come in. The initial repairs that we did, got it up and running. They came in the next day, did a few different repairs with some of the components that they had, but it's still just a temporary fix.
Okay. To me, that seems like there's still some legwork maybe that needs to get done to set this up, and it sounds like we have some time before we see the budget and we can see the funds. I'll go to President Zarella, but then I'll finish my thoughts.
I just wanted to say, since it sounds like there's some additional thoughts to be had around the revolving fund, but there's basically two components to this, I would move that we divide the question, vote separately on the fee increase and the revolving fund, just because it sounds like there's substantial unanimity on the first matter.
That's a fair point. I think that, as always, Chief Suarez, I think you'll agree this council has been incredibly supportive of the fire department and all the city departments, and I certainly am not going to prevent an increase of the fee. So can we have a motion to amend?
Or I would move to divide the question.
So
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Does anybody need any clarification on the motion?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand it. So all we're voting, if we vote tonight, you're telling me we're just going to vote for him to give him the okay to raise the fee to $300. That's it?
We're going to, this current vote is to divide the question. So we're going to
yeah.
split the petition
Yeah.
Vote on the top half, is my understanding, President Zarella?
And then on the,
And then on the second part. So that's the vote right now.
Okay.
So let's divide the question 068-25, that the city of Fitchburg increase a revolving fund. What was the exact title of the revolving fund? You said it's communication?
Communication tower, yes.
Okay, and is that the title of the fund?
I'm sorry?
Is that the title of the fund?
No,
That's the title
The
of the fund,
revolving
yes.
fund?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I thought we were going to bifurcate the petition to, like, if you just take the first sentence.
Right.
That's exactly what
That the city of Fitchburg increase the annual license fee for fire-alarm monitoring from the
Right.
current 200 to 300.
That's exactly what we're doing.
End it there.
Correct, that's what we're doing.
Okay, and then we take up the, where it gets deposited.
That's exactly what we're doing, Counselor. Thank you. for
Okay,
the
all right.
clarification.
I just wanted to
But
make sure. Thank
we
you.
amended the top half already, so I want to make sure we get it right for Arthur Cronin here, who takes terrific notes and does great minutes. So, the city of Fitchburg increase the communication tower revolving fund, annual license fee for fire alarm system monitoring from the current 200 to 300.
No.
And that's what we're dividing it.
No.
no, it's not
it's
currently
just
going
increasing
into the revolving fund.
No. it's not.
I see.
Going
Okay,
into
so
the
we need
general
to-
fund, that
so we
was
need
my
to amend
initial
the first-
question.
That's what I'm saying.
No, we don't need to amend the first part.
No, the second part,
We need to-
where
yeah.
where we amended to insert revolving fund is where it currently says enterprise fund in line 3.
I see. Okay, so I was unclear of the initial amendment. Thank you
So
for clarifying.
basically draw a line at the 300 mark.
Correct. So we're going to split after 300. The city of Fitchburg increased the annual license fee for fire alarm system monitoring from the current 200 to 300. Thank you for
Motion to
clarifying.
approve.
And I think, though, that we will need to include this increase will take effect January 1st.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. This
2026.
increase will take effect January 1st, 2026. That is where we divide the question.
Okay.
Thank you. I think that's the first time we've divided any question in my tenure. I appreciate the help.
Mine too.
Okay. And we have a motion and a second, correct?
Yes, motion
Okay.
approved.
Do we have any objections?
No.
Seeing none, we have divided the question. Would it be appropriate to hold the second half? and
Motion
vote?
to hold.
So let's,
Motion to hold the second half.
okay. So the
Yeah.
first half is approved. We're going to hold the second
Well, we
half.
haven't
Well, we
voted on
haven't voted on the first half yet.
Okay, let's vote on the first one. Do we have any
I'll
objections?
make a motion
Again,
to
thank you.
approve the first of the two divided questions.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have,
I got on a motion. I wanted to ask him a question before we took a vote.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
One question, can I speak?
yes, you may.
One question for you. You said the state police and the FBI, do we charge them for that?
We do,
We do charge them?
We do.
We do get paid?
yes.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure. All right.
Councilor Kuchar.
Are there any other cities or towns that utilize those radio towers?
Whenever they come in for mutual aid, they will.
Okay, so it's not like Westminster's hooking up with those?
No, they have their own system.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
They may have, just say we share one with Lunenburg over by the Walmart, so they may have their satellite dishes, microwave dishes on there that they use for their communications, so we just use that tower with our equipment.
Okay,
Yeah.
I yield the floor.
Thank you.
I'll
Councilor.
renew my motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the first half of the petition. Do we have any objections? Seeing none, it is approved. Do we have a motion to hold the second half? And just for clarification, the second half was amended to be a revolving fund for equipment, all fire alarm systems. The system is maintained and monitored by the Fitchburg Fire Department Dispatch Center 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So moved.
I got a question on that motion,
Yes.
on your thing. I thought he was just going to put the money into the revolving fund that they already had.
Correct. That was for, we just corrected the language because it shouldn't be an enterprise fund. That's
Yeah,
why-
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. We made it into, but he says he's already got a revolving fund. So you're going to have two?
President Zarella.
Currently, these fees don't go into that revolving fund
As of right now, right?
as of right now. The second part of the petition would be to direct those fees into the revolving fund rather than into the general fund.
Okay. But we're going to hold it, right?
Yes.
Depends on the vote, but that could be the motion.
Okay.
We have a motion.
Motion to hold?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any objections? All right, it is held. That concludes, thank you, Chief Suarez.
Okay,
That
thank you.
concludes our
You get
agenda
us
for
all
the evening.
confused.
I got myself confused. The next meeting of the City Finance Committee will be Wednesday, April 23rd.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Seeing no objections, we are adjourned.